We're a little past mid-August and it's time for another gardening update. Some of the sunflowers are well over 10 feet tall now. I'm guessing this sunflower is somewhere around 12 feet tall, or about a little over 3.5 meters. This one hasn't bloomed yet. I'm planting a small fall garden in grow bags. These are located where the potatoes used to be, and just on the other side of them are some ornamental sweet potatoes and some peppers and some of our project peppers. One of our Oda crosses, the F2 generation, I used some recently in some pico de gallo, and it was very good. I thought the heat was similar to a jalapeno, except maybe just a little bit milder. Most of the stuff over here gets shaded part of the afternoon by the Musa Basju banana plant, and I'm guessing it's probably about 12 feet tall now. We're still seeing a few orioles, but they're getting fewer and farther between. The sweet potatoes and the straw bell are really starting to sprawl out now, and right next to those are some grow bags with some bush beans and some of our project peppers, and in front of those are some ornamental sweet potatoes. Just on the other side of the grow bags is another straw bale with sweet potatoes, and it's going to be time to harvest those in a few weeks. It's been kind of a bad year for tomatoes because of the extreme heat, but one tomato that's done pretty well in that kind of heat is the Bundaberg Rumball. It still has quite a few tomatoes in the middle of August, and I'm thinking it should probably produce until frost, as long as some sort of disease doesn't get it. And it's continued to set tomatoes even in the heat. I planted one sun gold cherry tomato plant, and it's still producing quite a few tomatoes. If you've never tried growing sun gold cherry tomatoes, I would highly recommend them. And another good one that I've heard a lot of good things about is sun sugar. Planting at least one cherry tomato plant is a great way to ensure you get at least some tomatoes during those hot summers. While I was looking around in the garden, I spotted this assassin bug. I feel the same way about these as I feel about praying mantis. They're good bugs to have around because they kill a lot of bad bugs. That long thing hanging from its nose is called a proboscis, and that's what they use to kill their prey. The ají dulce pepper was slow to get started, but it's really gaining speed now and has lots of peppers on it. And as you can see, some of them are starting to get color on them now, so I'll be able to do a taste test on these soon. The month of August is the best month for seeing hummingbirds here. We get a lot of migrating hummingbirds that come through on their way south. They can be very entertaining to watch, and it's especially gratifying to see them go from flower to flower. The amaranth is still growing a little bit, I think, and is over 7 feet tall now. And some of the branches are extending quite a ways from the main stem. And all along the branch are little flower heads, and all of those flower heads will produce seeds. And I've noticed that just holding one hand under the seed head and shaking it a little bit causes some seeds to fall already, so it won't be long before I have to harvest this. The banana toes tomato plant is still producing tomatoes, and I've been harvesting a little corn because I spread out the planting, so the harvesting is also spread out. I mentioned before that the sun can be a little hard on this pepper, and as you can see here on the west side of the plant, some of the peppers are being sunburned. But to be fair to the plant, we've had an awful lot of 100-degree days this year. Now let me give you the rundown on some of the stuff that I planted for fall. The first is chichimasai. I also planted some winter choy, and some of these plants look an awful lot alike. Here we have some Swiss chard that is planted way too thick. And the nice thing about thinning some of these plants is I'll be able to eat the thinnings, like with this kale and the arugula. And some of these plants are also fairly cold hardy. I even have a grow bag with some carrots growing in it. The nice thing about carrots is that they can stay in the ground all winter and get sweeter as the temperature gets colder. I have crisp mint and May Queen lettuce growing in this grow bag. I have cilantro in this grow bag. I've already used some of the thinnings in some pico de gallo, and I even have a couple of volunteer basil plants that came up in the cilantro. I'll let those grow for a little while. What you're looking at here is some baby bok choy, and right next to it is some green tatsoi. I normally don't do a lot for fall, but this year I planted quite a few things, including some spinach. It's just starting to grow. Here's a look at how tall some of the sunflowers are compared to the shed. I have some late cucumbers that we might get a few from. This was kind of a disappointing year for cucumbers for us. The candy cane pepper is held in there through all of the heat and is still producing peppers. A couple of them are about ready to pick. The blot pepper has done pretty well through all of the heat we've had, and it still has quite a few peppers on it. I've picked several ripe ones, and it still has a lot of them that haven't ripened yet. Right next door is the Guernica pepper, and as you can see, it still has lots of peppers on it too. And there's one down there that I need to pick. Next to it is the Pippin's Golden Honey. And it's a very productive pepper, and I hope to do a taste test on it soon. I've thought about it several times, but I just haven't got around to it. And next to it is the Oda, and it's always been a very productive pepper for us. I had a volunteer Moon and Stars watermelon come up over by the compost pile, so I just let it grow. It's called Moon and Stars because the watermelon will have yellow spots all over it, and the leaves also have yellow spots. These are Matoyo eggplants, and the real black eggplant also has produced a few here and there. Unlike the one in full sun, this Aconcagua pepper hasn't been sunburned. The plant produces quite a few peppers, and most of the peppers are pretty large, so it does require staking or some kind of support. Most of my harvests have been fairly small this year compared to other years, but we still appreciate what we get. This is one of the Guernica peppers, and they look just like the Jimmy Nardellos to the right. We're still getting Bundaberg Rumball tomatoes. This is one of the Aconcagua peppers next to a blot pepper that's ripe. In a few months, we're really going to be missing some of these summer crops. It's finally time to pull up that single carrot that I overwintered and let go to seed. Once they've been in the ground that long, they are definitely not worth eating. They become very woody and fibrous. All of the flower heads are mostly dried out, so I'm going to cut them off and save the seeds later. I'll give you a closer look at just how hideous the carrot itself has become. It's almost unrecognizable as a carrot. Here's a look at how dry those flower heads have become. I'll just cut them all off, put them in a pile somewhere and let them dry for another couple of weeks, and then I'll harvest the seeds. I didn't harvest all of the seed heads, but this pile will produce thousands and thousands of seeds. It's been a rough year for pole beans in our garden, and they finally got spider mites, so I decided to pick what was still left on the plants and then pull the plants. It just wasn't worth the effort to keep them going anymore. Here's an F3 pepper that I've been calling Conehead, and it's got quite a few different variations. Some of them are more round and some of them are a little more productive, but I'll be picking one or two out of this bunch to save seeds from. These are the F4 and F5 variegated peppers. I'll be looking these over and saving seeds from a couple of the F5s that I think are the best. Some of them are very productive, and some of them not quite as much. But they're just now starting to get better variegation. Here's another version of that same pepper that's about a month behind. This is a variegated version of what I've been calling black cherry, and they're just now starting to get quite a few peppers on them. Before you go, be sure and let us know how your garden's doing. I'll leave you with this look at some hummingbirds we had last summer. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you have subscribed, like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.